stop feeling superior to somebody, because that's what you are doing at the end of the day. If you tell me somebody in this family, they have mental instability, you are saying you don't have. You have not seen trouble. You have not seen trouble. There was a day I had some, can't tell the story now, but what happened to me that day was I looked at the situation around me. You know what I said? I remember very well. I said, so this is how people go crazy. I remember very well. I said, this explains why people go crazy. Because that day, the things that happened, I almost went mental. I didn't do anything. No. I was just taking a walk on the road, just taking a walk up and down. And I said to myself, so this is how people go crazy. So Christians should be careful. Let's put our faith in God all the time. We have to be careful about that.
Hello, you're welcome to Kingdom-WORD Radio. It is time for Ask Pastor Banky. As the name implies, on this program we get to ask Pastor questions. These questions range from doctrinal issues, if you need clarification concerning any of the sermons you've heard Pastor preach, or any of the things you've read in his books, life issues really. And you can send your questions to ask@pastor.ng. You can also send via chat via WhatsApp chat to 0807 42 Remember, if you're outside the country, please include our code +234. You can follow the conversation on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at the KW Radio. My name is Hope. We'll take a quick break. We'll be right back. Welcome back. This is Ask Pastor Banky. Who is Pastor Banky? He's Dr. Bankole Olushino and the founder of Kingdom-WORD Ministries. He operates from Enugu, Nigeria with his lovely wife. He has several thousands of messages. He has several books. He has short messages, tracts, and all these are available on pastor.ng. Believe me, they are free to download. So please make use of these resources to help your Christian life. Pastor Banky is here in the house. You're welcome, sir.
Good day. Nice to be here again today.
Thank you so much for always taking time to be here. So, Pastor, we'll quickly go into the questions.
All right.
Someone has said that I come from a family with a history of infertility in males. I am planning my wedding, but the thoughts won't let go. Will it happen to me? What am I supposed to do as a believer?
Okay, I like the fact that it ended with as a believer. You can understand a bit of my leaning, that I will lean a bit to the medical aspect. I can't help it. It comes to my mind as thoughts like that come up. First, infertility in male is not transferred down generations for obvious reasons.
Okay.
If the man is infertile, do you get the point?
Okay.
Yeah, so it's not transmitted down generations. We know that, okay? So that's really doesn't... I don't think there's anything to worry about. If you talk about people have inherited it the same way that from if it's your father, for goodness sake, you couldn't have inherited from... do you get my point?
Yes.
Yeah, that's the way it works, all right? But, okay, so what if all my brothers who are men have that issue? Okay, that I don't have enough time to quickly think about that now. Now, let me quickly switch over to the spiritual aspect, okay? Which is what you asked about. As a Christian, do I need to worry? The answer I will give is no. There's nothing to worry about. And there are two reasons why you don't worry about that. The most important reason is spiritual reason. If we have anything, we'll take our worries and our anxieties, take them to the Lord, and say to him, Lord, look at the issue, help me deal with it. That's how you handle worries. You don't handle worries as a Christian by running away from the source of the worry. Do you get my point? For example, you don't handle the issue of poverty by changing geographical location. You go to God and tell him, bless me. Because if you read the scriptures, the geographical location thing, as far as God is concerned, it must be determined by where he said you should be. So for some people, moving up and down was part of their calling from God. So Abraham had to move from one place to the other. But Isaac, God did not want him to do that. So when he wanted to move to Egypt, God said, don't. So he said, dwell in that land. So you see, you go to God with your worries. You don't run away from it. Because sometimes the source of the challenges that are causing the worries are actually the places where God wants you to overcome for his glory and for your blessing. So you have to be careful. That's it. And so, but in this kind of situation where the man is the one worried, the only solution he has is never to marry. Is never to marry. Do you get my point? Which, as you can see, again, why are we talking about this? If you're never going to marry, so you are going to marry. So should you worry? Of course, direct answer from scriptures. Don't have any anxiety about anything. Don't worry about anything. It's clear like that in scriptures. Philippians chapter 4. But in everything with prayer and supplication, with thanksgiving, let your requests be made known unto God. That is the most important reason why the person doesn't have to worry. The second reason I wanted to give, I think it will dilute the first one. Let me not give it. That's good enough. No need to worry.
Okay. Pastor, well, we're in Africa.
Yeah.
And, there's this thing about generally when you want to get married, you try to trace the history of the person and all that. Mm-hmm. And you have places where they tell you this young man comes from a family. They have a what's it called now? A background of maybe mental instability, madness, and all that. So as a child of God, do you not worry as well and you knowingly go and marry, into that kind of family?
Very good question at this point. Let me start by saying that the people that have mental instability that you have observed, sometimes because they have had mental stress that triggered their instability. In which the people that have not had it and you have not observed that they have it is because they have not had the mental stress.
So they've not been triggered.
So let's first get that one clear.
Okay.
And like I tell everybody that there is actually no family on the earth in which you will trace, you will not find a form of mental instability. Because they come in different forms. Do you get my point? For example, maybe you find a in quote, village, all right, that one guy is from, and they say, oh, his brother had this issue. It's because he was unfortunate enough not to be amongst enlightened people that will have taken care of him. Another guy comes from a city where the moment he showed the first sign, they took him for treatment. They controlled him, took good care of him, and they lived a stable life until they got to a point where they couldn't disturb him anymore. So it's not recorded. So how do you handle it? See, this life is very, very complex. It's very complex. There are people who had issues when the society was different. The medical intervention available was not like this. And then you want to compare them with people in which the medical intervention available is quite great. So you don't know who had which problem who did not have. Having put many things together in this life, for me, deal with the person as he or she is. I hope you're getting my point.
Okay.
Deal with the individual as he or she is. You meet a man, he's normal, you and him are relating, you go to the same church, maybe you read the book together, and he's behaving. Somebody come and tell you that I found their family. You're being ridiculous. That's what I think. You're really being ridiculous. You meet a young woman, she's a good person, she's generally good, you have no problem with her character. Then your auntie comes and says they've gone to do investigation, found out that her grandmother was mentally unstable and used to go walk to the market naked. And you never saw it like that. The person who was checking, did you check what her grand auntie went through? The grand auntie killed the grand uncle. And if you don't know. So, yes, I will say to believers, also do not worry about that. Do these things come up in our minds? Yes. What should we do? Let's pray about them. Let's commit them to the Lord. Life is so complex, all right? That that's another thing you have to bear in mind. There's a way you will go through things. And God will say, well, since you are very smart and you know how to handle your issues, please go ahead and handle by yourself. So that when the other things that you could not have investigated, when they come upon you, God will not answer you. That's something I want to say to people. Faith is not something you develop when you have need. Faith is something you culture yourself on. You remember, you see the way I use the word culture, all right? You train yourself on, okay? I'm using it from a medical perspective. You train yourself on faith on a regular basis. So this is what God does to us. You say, okay, I won't marry this person because somebody gave me, investigated and found that in their extended family there's mental instability. God said, no problem. I can't handle it, you handle it yourself. I don't have a problem with that. Then you marry somebody who nobody investigated anything. What you did not find out is that these ones, by the time they reach their 50s, they divorce their husbands because of this and this and that. When that problem comes, get to your knees and start praying to God. God, I say, no. I'm sorry, I can't handle it. I can't. If I could not handle mental instability, why should I be able to handle marital instability? Wow. Why will I be able to handle financial instability? Why will I be able to handle, a family stability? I can't. So please leave me handle your problems yourself. Let's be careful. I'll tell you a story. It really happened to people I know. They told me the story themselves.
Okay.
A big auntie, a big sister, all right? That's like a mother to a big family, all right? She's a big sister, just that she has a lot of younger ones and had much control over them because was virtually their caregiver, all right? The younger brother, when they wanted to marry, I came home and they said the lady that, and the woman looked and said no. So the brother, she's like a son to her, even though she's really a big sister. And told the mother no. And told the brother no. You can't marry her. Why? That she has a physical disability. I won't use the word disability because she just has one leg that was significantly shorter than the other. Okay. So she walked with what they call a dip. Actually it's called a dip.
Okay,
yeah. She walked with a dip. And after much talk, he couldn't go against the sister's words. All right. So she didn't marry the young woman because of that reason. The guy finally went ahead and married somebody else who didn't have that problem. And then now these are people I know, all right, the family. And the new wife he married didn't have that issue. Physically, she was good. And she started having children. And the first 2 children she had exactly the problem the sister said he did not like.
Oh, no. Now she can't throw out her blood.
She's going to throw out her nephew and her niece.
Oh, no.
No. And you see, that tells you the reality of the spiritual. You rejected a child of God because of something as trivial as this. It's not even a genetic issue. It is not. That issue is not genetic. It's not even a genetic issue. But to let us know that life is spiritual, God just rewarded them according to their faith. I tell every Christian, be careful. Stop feeling superior to somebody because that's what you are doing at the end of the day. If you tell me somebody in this family, they have mental instability, you are saying you don't have. You have not seen trouble. You have not seen trouble. There was a day I had some, can't tell the story now, but what happened to me that day was I looked at the situation around me. You know what I said? I remember very well. I said, so this is how people go crazy. I remember very well. I said, this explains why people go crazy. Because that day, the things that happened, I almost went mental. I didn't do anything. No. I was just taking a walk on the road, just taking a walk up and down. And I said to myself, so this is how people go crazy. So Christians should be careful. Let's put our faith in God all the time. We have to be careful about that.
Put our faith in God all the time. And Pastor, sometimes when you say this, put your faith in God all the time, you remember you said faith is cultured. So you remember you said faith is cultured.
Yes.
If you are at a point where you are just, in quotes, culturing your faith, how do you put your faith in God all the time when some of the challenges are, they seem insurmountable, like they seem so big, so huge, for a someone, okay, this particular issue now, a young Christian, he wants to get married and he's faced with this, his whole family is against him. How easy is it to put his faith in God? It's
not easy. That's what we call faith. It can't be easy. But practical tip, push the wedding forward. Suspend all ideas of marriage. Go and develop your faith.
Okay.
Yeah, because you cannot make a permanent decision at such times of weak faith. Do you get my point? So what I will advise such a person is that postpone it. Everybody's against you. Go and build strength you can stand against them. But don't balk because of them.
Okay.
No, you can't. So that's okay, all right. You say I shouldn't marry this person, no problem. Now, between yourself and the intended person, say, please, we have to pause. You pause. Then you have not agreed with them, but you kept everybody calm. And take the next few weeks and months to pray and continue to tell God things, right? So that by the time you come back again, your faith is stronger.
Okay.
Do you get my point? That's one practical tip I'll give, which is take it easy. Patience is very important to give you time to make important decisions. If along the line the other person say, I can't wait, sorry, then you are the one that ended the whole issue.
Okay.
But the Bible says something clearly. Those who faithfully hope in him will not be put to shame. And those that believe in him will not make haste. So those two things you put together and you really employ patience to handle the matter.
Wow. Okay. On that note, let's take a quick break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Okay, so you're welcome back. This is Ask Pastor Banky on Kingdom Word Radio. And if you're just joining us, this is the second leg of our episode. But not to worry, you can actually follow the conversation on our Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at the KW Radio. Remember, you can send your questions as well to ask@pastor.ng. Send via WhatsApp chat to 0807 42 11111. Please include +234 if you're not resident in Nigeria. Okay, so Pastor, we have another question here. I have heard you preach that you should not give what hurts or pains you, as in a sacrifice. Please, sir, could you clarify what this is?
All right. I can assure you heard me not very well. I don't want to say you heard me wrongly, but you didn't hear me very well. Let me explain the meaning of the word sacrifice first. When we use the word sacrifice a lot of times, we don't use it in the Bible way, the biblical use. We use it the common English way. So this is a sacrifice. It means that it's a major opportunity cost for me or a major thing that I had to let go of. For example, maybe I'm supposed to go on a holiday with my family, but because you have this event, so I've cancelled it and I've come now to attend your event. So it's a sacrifice, something that really cost me a lot. That's what we call a sacrifice in English language. But in the Bible language, it's not like that. A sacrifice is an offering prescribed by God. That's all it is. It doesn't mean it costs you so much. For example, I have a flock of 1,000 sheep, all right? My herd is about 5,000 goats. My sacrifice is still one goat.
Okay.
Do you understand? It's not only when I take 500, I take a tithe of it that I offer the sacrifice. If my wife has a child, a firstborn is a male, every male that opens the womb goes, okay, bring with this kind of sacrifice, a pair of turtle doves and stuff like that. All right? Or a ram or a heifer. There's prescription like that in scriptures. It has nothing to do with the proportion that is out of the lot that I have. It is just that this is what God said do. Now, when David said, I will not offer to God that which costs me nothing, people often misinterpret that. What that simply means is that I will not, because he got there to the house of Araunah. He wanted the land. So Araunah said to him, Sister, you can take the land for free. And whatever you need for the sacrifice, I will give to you. And David said, I will not offer to God that which costs me nothing. What he meant was that you are not the one that will pay for the offering I'm giving. Because sometimes I'm in church, I've been there before, they say, if you don't have an offering, ask your neighbor to give you an offering. I said, it's my neighbor that's giving the offering.
Okay, that's wrong.
I'll use the word, it's unnecessary.
Okay.
Because if I want to give an offering, if my neighbor says it doesn't have, the logical thing I'll do is split the one I have in two. The church is still getting the same amount of money.
Okay.
Now, so I don't want to use the word wrong. I just say it's unnecessary. If I really don't have, it is not right, okay, for me to be telling my neighbor, help me give an offering. You're not the one giving. You're not the one giving. If you ask your neighbor, please, bros, give me money, you don't tell me it's for an offering. All right? And then I give it to you, and you're supposed to go and use it to eat. And I take part of the 1,000 naira I gave you to eat, and you take 250 out of it and give us an offering. Then you are the one giving because you have acquire that money one way or the other, right? But when I tell him that put money offering in my hand, I've been in church where they say it, all right? Put an offering in my hand so that I can give an offering. I say, you are not the one giving. I, your neighbor, I am the one giving. All right? Okay. Now, so that's what David was telling Araunah, that listen, this thing that you are offering me, it is not you now that is giving. It is not me that is giving. You are the one giving. So I don't want that to happen. Because everything that David used, all right, everything that David spent on that matter, compared to the wealth he had, it was nothing. Compared to the wealth he had. Look, let me just read it from 2 Samuel chapter 24. He said, everything, O king, Araunah gives to the king. That's Araunah was speaking. That's in verse 23. And Araunah said to the king, may the Lord your God accept you. However, the king said, no, but I will surely buy it from you for a price. For I will not offer burnt offerings to the Lord, which cost me nothing. What does that mean? Now, let me just read the following lines. So David bought the threshing floor and the oxen for 50 shekels of silver. Now, if you know what David was worth, this was nothing. When he was giving Solomon money to prepare for the building of the temple, he said to him, I have given of my own private treasuries. All right. I think we can find that if you want to see how much David was worth. All right. How much did he pay Araunah for that thing just now?
50 shekels
of silver. All right. All right. So you see there that David, how many? He paid 50 shekels of silver for that temple, for the site that he was going to use to sacrifice unto the Lord, and the oxen that he was going to use. Okay? But then when he was going to set things aside for the building of the temple, what do you find? He said in verse 14, now behold, with great pains I have prepared for the house of the Lord 100 talents of gold and 1,000,000 talents of silver and bronze and iron beyond weight, for they are in great quantity. If you read another portion, not here, he said, of my private treasury. These were the private things that belonged to him. Silver here is said to be 1,000,000 talents of silver, 100,000 talents of gold. You know that 100,000 talents of gold was worth more than 1,000,000 talents of silver. What are we trying to say? So you see that David was not, when he said that I won't give to God that which costs me nothing, he was not saying I'm going to give God something that's paining me as I'm giving God. 50 shekels was nothing. But 50 shekels was his own. But the 50 shekels belonged to him. It wasn't much compared to what he really could afford. But it belongs to him.
Okay.
That's the meaning of I won't give God that which costs me nothing. Maybe today, now, I want to give an offering somewhere, and it's just 1,000 naira. And you say, okay, don't worry, sir, I have 1,000 naira for you. I say, don't worry. I don't want to give an offering that didn't cost me anything. The 1,000 naira is nothing, because, you see, to fill my tank now, with this no fuel subsidy, I know how much I pay. Okay? That is not even up to 1/50th of what is required to fill my tank. I hope you get my point.
Yes.
But at least it's still my 1,000 naira. That was what David was saying. Now, the question I'm supposed to be answering is that I said that people should not give what
doesn't pain
no
them.
What pains them. That if it pains you,
Yes.
don't give it. Now, what I mean when I say that is trying to correct people who misinterpret this scripture.
Okay.
Said I will not give to God which cost me nothing. So people say, pastors, they say it a lot of times. If you want to give to God, make sure it costs you. It's something that when you are giving, you know something is leaving your body. That is what I disagree with. It is not necessary. Anything you give, as long as you are the one giving it, is acceptable unto the Lord. Now, when I say don't give that which pains you, is this. I can have 1,000,000 naira and I give 1,000,000 naira, it doesn't pain me. Yeah.
Please explain.
No, there's no explanation. I have 1,000,000 naira, I give you 1,000,000 naira, it doesn't pain me.
Okay.
It doesn't have to pain me. That's actually what I was trying to say to people.
Okay.
If it pains you, don't give it.
That means it's not cheerful giving.
I like the word you use for it. It's not cheerful giving. If it's paining you, it's not giving. Bible says not under duress, that is not under compulsion. And that's what I mean. I'm not saying don't give generously. What I'm saying is that so-called pain is the opposite of generosity. I see pastors go around everywhere. Some of them, they call themselves apostles and prophets. Their job is to come to a church and tell people, you will give something that will pain you. I say, no. If it's going to pain you, don't give where I am standing. I'm not saying don't give generously. You can have 1 million and give 999,000. It doesn't have to pain you. It doesn't have to. What pains you or what doesn't pain you is an emotional thing. Depends how much you have trained yourself. The other day I got paid some money, and so I just felt like making my wife happy. So I said, hey, let me dash you some money. She was surprised. I just dashed plenty of money. In fact, she told the children, hey, see what your father gave me. Did he pay me? No, it was a lot of money. It was all the money. Why didn't it pay me? It's nothing. It's my wife. She said, okay, feel happy. What's she going to do with it anyway? It's not the same house she'll spend it. Is she going to build a house in her grandfather's village? Do you get my point? It was nothing. It was nothing. I remember the time, I give this testimony to the glory of God when we was going to go on Elms in Kingdom-WORD Ministries. The first money we're supposed to pay for radio. I was teaching part-time at one university a bit away from Enugu then. And they had not paid me for almost a year of the work. So finally they were going to pay, about 10 months or so. 10 months thereabout. When the money was coming, so my wife was already planning for it. Okay, when this money comes, this is what I will do, this is what I will do, this is what I will do. Except that at that point in time, God opened the door for Kingdom-WORD Radio, for Kingdom-WORD Ministries to go on terrestrial radio. All right? Okay. Not this internet radio now. And we had to pay them. And it was a lot of money. And Kingdom-WORD didn't have that kind of money in its accounts those days. All right? Not like now. Now we pay over 20, maybe 24 radio stations, and it's not a problem. But then it was the first one we didn't have the money. So I felt it was laid upon my heart to give the money that I had to the project. I didn't give the whole thing. I cut the money into like 4 parts. 3 of it I gave to the radio broadcast. The one that was remaining, I broke into different parts again. I remember there was a pastor that preached a message that triggered it. I sent him some of the money. My dad was alive then. I sent him some of the money. And then the little that was now remaining, I gave to my wife to buy anything, maybe buy ice cream or buy biscuits, whatever. One small amount that she got from it. The whole money went like that. Did he pay me? Of course not. He didn't pay me, but was the whole money? Was it painful? It was not painful. It was not painful. I have given things that are heavy. If ears will hear, say, wow, you did that. Yes, but was it painful? It was not painful. So that my own emphasis that why do we make money pain us? I will not do that. We give God. No, it's not an offering that's going to receive anything from God because you were feeling emotionally bad when you were giving it. It shows you are not mature enough to part with such money. Keep your money. One of our brothers did one funny thing. Very interesting story. One of our Kingdom-WORD brothers here. It was in church. Somebody preached this kind of message to him. You will give God something that pains you. Something that pains you. So he reasoned that money can never pain me. No matter how much money I give, money can't pain me. So what can I give that will pain me now? So he went into his house and reasoned. Now he loves wild animals and wild things. So there was a time he dug, I think, after a snake into a hole. He killed a snake. I don't know whether it was a python or a cobra or a viper. One of the, but it was either a big thing or a dangerous thing. So he killed and skinned it. And, prepared the skin and hung it in his house. He loved that thing. He said, this thing, I don't want to part with it. If I part with it, it will pain me. So he took it, wrapped it, put it in an envelope, took it to church.
Please,
he said, he did. He said, give God something that will pain you. He said, this is the only thing in my house that will pain me. Money can't pain me. So he dropped it in the offering basket. I told him, you're a wicked soul.
I don't even want to imagine what the church went through.
It's an African church. You can imagine. This is a church in Africa. When they would open that thing, everybody will first run back. They will start rebuking the devil. In the name of Jesus. Yes. Serpentine spirit. He was not the serpentine spirit. He's a man who loved the wild. Who loved animals. That you said, give him something that will pain him. Say, my whole house, this is the only trophy I have that will pain me, and he gave it to you. Now you are rebuking Satan over this thing. That was what I meant. I'm not saying don't give generously. But I'm saying if your giving is going to be painful to you, please leave it. You are not mature enough to let that go. Thank you.
Okay, well, I'm sure we have, been blessed by this. It's unfortunately we cannot take any more questions because we're out of time. However, remember that you can send your questions to ask@pastor.ng, and of course, you can send via WhatsApp chat to 0807 42 11111. And if you're not in Nigeria, please include our code +234. Remember to follow us on all our socials, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at the KW Radio. Thank you very much, Pastor, for taking time out to be here again. My name is Hope. Until next time, keep trusting the Lord. Bye.